Hello, beautiful Libra. Let's begin with something real. God is pouring miracles and money into your life, and it's happening faster than you expected. This is not a metaphor. It's not wishful thinking. It's a divine delivery. And if you've been seeing signs, feeling shifts, or sensing that something big is on its way, you're absolutely right. That click wasn't random. You were led here. Because what's unfolding in your life right now isn't just luck. It's a sacred reward. For your patience. For your silent battles. For the way you chose peace when no one saw your pain. Today's video is not your typical horoscope reading. This is a spiritual transmission. A moment of divine alignment between you, your destiny, and the whisper of the universe finally speaking loudly enough for you to hear it. In the next few minutes, I'll guide you through a rare tarot spread revealed under divine energy, chosen specifically for Libra. The financial rebirth that is already manifesting in your energetic field. A soulmate shift that's about to rewrite how you experience love. Angelic guidance to help you balance your health, energy, and inner clarity. And a sacred key, hidden in the final moments of this video, that could unlock your most abundant timeline. But first, I want to tell you something personal, something I believe to my core as someone who has studied astrology, tarot, and cosmic law for decades. You don't have to beg for abundance. You just have to believe you're worthy of receiving it. Libra, you've given so much, your time, your love, your wisdom, often without receiving anything in return. But today, that changes. Because this is the moment when heaven sends something back. And if you're ready to receive it, then this message is meant for you. So I invite you now to comment below, say, I am ready to receive the miracles meant for me. Or drop any sacred number from 111 to 999, numbers that vibrate at the frequency of manifestation and personal awakening. When you do, you're not just typing. You're claiming. You're aligning. You're stepping forward into what is already yours. And before we begin, allow me to pause and offer my deepest thanks. Thank you for being here. For choosing yourself. For pressing play not out of curiosity, but out of courage. Every comment you leave, every like you offer, every subscription you give helps grow our sacred family here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. And believe me when I say this community is not built by numbers. It's built by hearts. So stay with me until the very end of this video. Because what the universe is about to reveal to you, it's not just inspiring, it's life-defining. Now, tell me, my faithful Libras. What did you feel in your spirit that brought you here, right now? There's something deeply sacred about the act of kneeling, not as a gesture of submission, but as a quiet, intentional posture of trust. It's not about lowering yourself in front of the world. It's about grounding yourself in the present moment, opening up your chest, and aligning your heart with something far greater than your circumstances. For Libra, a sign ruled by Venus and symbolized by the scales of justice, this moment is more than symbolic, it's karmic. The energy you've put out into the world, often quietly, often without recognition, is circling back. Not by coincidence, but by divine rhythm. When the Justice card appears, and especially in a Libra reading, it speaks louder than almost any other card could. This is your archetype. This is your mirror. It doesn't come to question you, it comes to confirm you. In the energetic language of tarot, justice is not just about fairness from others, it's about alignment within. It's a signal that the inner integrity you've preserved through every season of loss, doubt, or waiting has tipped the scale. You are not being rewarded as a matter of luck. You are receiving what has always been rightfully yours. In astrology, Libra represents balance, beauty, and divine reciprocity. But here's what many people don't understand: balance doesn't always look like stillness. Sometimes, balance requires a deep, internal reset, a spiritual realignment where you finally stop giving more than you receive. This moment in your journey isn't about begging for what you want. It's about preparing to accept what is ready to arrive. It's about reprogramming your heart to believe that ease, abundance, and love are not privileges, they are your birthright. There is a difference between expectation and receptivity. Expectation is rigid. It wants to control timing, shape, and outcome. Receptivity, on the other hand, is soft. It trusts the divine intelligence behind what is unfolding, even when the form it takes looks unfamiliar. You are being asked, right now, to shift out of striving and into surrender. Not passive surrender, but a conscious agreement to let in what you once thought was out of reach. Many of us were raised to believe that blessings must be earned through struggle. That rest is laziness. That joy must be justified. But that's not how divine timing works. The deeper lesson here, the one that even the most ancient wisdom whispers, is that blessings are not conditional. You are not a project to be fixed before you're loved. You are not a problem to solve before you're given peace. You are already ready, as you are. And the moment you believe that, the flow begins. Even in the quiet teachings passed down through faith, we are reminded, don't close your heart in the name of humility. Be willing to ask. Be willing to receive. But above all, be willing to recognize that the gifts arriving in your life are not about indulgence, they are about alignment. When God pours into you, it is not to impress, but to empower. And what you do with that abundance, how you share it, expand it, multiply it, is how the cycle continues. So yes, Libra, kneel. But not because you're small. Kneel because you are aware of the magnitude of what's being placed in your hands. Kneel to steady yourself as the wind of grace rises at your back. Kneel to remember that you don't have to chase what's already chasing you. And then rise. Rise, knowing the scales have turned. Rise, knowing that you are not forgotten. Rise, because everything is coming full circle, and this time, it's yours to receive. Sometimes, the blessings we've waited for don't arrive in the way we imagined. They don't burst through the door demanding attention, but rather appear as a gentle invitation to notice how much has quietly shifted in our favor. At this stage in your journey, Libra, you're being asked not to chase what's yours, but to recognize the blessings already moving toward you and to honor the way they reflect your growth. What you're stepping into isn't the result of force or chance. It's the natural harvest of a frequency you've been cultivating through patience, intention, and quiet self-mastery. The Ace of Pentacles paired with the Nine of Pentacles is a message too clear to ignore. Financial expansion is unfolding in your life not because you hustled harder than everyone else, but because you finally aligned with the essence of your value. Libra energy doesn't force, it magnetizes. It doesn't demand attention, it draws an opportunity through elegance, clarity, and equilibrium. These cards affirm that money and resources are now being attracted to you through resonance, not resistance. The vibration you're sending out, one of refined worthiness, is calling back the people, ideas, and offers that match your integrity. This is a good moment to pause and reevaluate your relationship with money. Ask yourself gently, am I receiving with the same grace I give? Sometimes, financial blessings don't reach us because our hands are closed from fear, guilt, or conditioning that taught us wealth must be chased, never received. But as one wise teaching reminds us, your cup can only be filled if you hold it out openly, not clutched tightly. True wealth doesn't create stress. It brings breathing room, dignity, and choice. And in this new season, those qualities are not luxuries, they are your energetic inheritance. In love, the energy becomes even more poetic. With the Lovers and Two of Cups guiding this space, you are either meeting or deepening a connection that reflects your soul back to you in the most honest and liberating way. This is not the kind of love that consumes. It's the kind that calms. You are being asked to trust that emotional safety is not boring, it's sacred. The arrival of the Knight of Cups adds a softness to this unfolding, reminding you that heartfelt messages, apologies, or romantic gestures may appear when least expected. And when they do, your job isn't to analyze them. It's to feel them. To receive love without overthinking your worthiness of it is one of the greatest emotional skills you can develop right now. Your name is also being whispered in rooms where your feet have not yet stepped. The King and Queen of Swords reveal a season of recognition through the sharpness of your mind and the clarity of your communication. Your voice carries weight. Your insight matters. And when shared from the heart, your story becomes a guidepost for others. This is a time to speak, not to stay silent. To trust that what you know and the way you express it is deeply needed. As for home and family, the Empress and Four of Wands signify not just external peace, but inner restoration. Whether you're moving into a new space, healing old family patterns, or simply creating emotional safety in your current environment, this is a call to soften your surroundings and prioritize harmony. Home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel when you return to yourself. Cultivate spaces, habits, and rituals that anchor you in your truth. Let your external environment be a mirror of your internal calm. And remember, blessings don't just show up fully formed, they require space to land. So make space in your mind, your heart, your calendar. Not through effort, but through trust. Because what's coming isn't a maybe. It's a promise already unfolding, and it's heading straight for you. What if the next chapter of your life isn't about chasing anything but about becoming so aligned with who you truly are that everything meant for you naturally finds its way? That's the invitation of this stage, Libra. You've journeyed far, you've questioned deeply, and now the message is clear. It's time to complete a cycle, not because something is ending, but because you are ready to evolve. The World card doesn't just signify closure. It speaks of mastery. It whispers of integration. And in your case, it marks the beginning of a life that reflects your inner truth without compromise. For so long, you may have associated peace with sacrifice, keeping quiet to avoid conflict, choosing harmony over honesty, or putting others' needs above your own to maintain balance. But this golden cycle asks a new question. What if peace doesn't require self-erasure? What if being at peace means no longer negotiating your worth just to keep others comfortable? This is where the real shift begins. You are not being asked to give more. You're being invited to become more rooted in your own presence. From an astrological perspective, Libra thrives when life is aesthetically and emotionally in balance. But that balance isn't meant to be static. True balance is dynamic, like a dancer in motion, adjusting, refining, staying centered, not by staying still, but by responding to life's rhythms with grace. The World card affirms that you've reached a point of inner harmony where your external life can now reflect your internal values. You're not here to prove. You're here to express. And what flows from that expression, whether it's financial success, deeper love, or purposeful work, will be a mirror of your alignment. This part of your journey invites you to recalibrate 3 essential aspects of your identity: purpose, partnership, and prosperity. Your relationship with money is no longer about survival, it's about channeling your gifts into something meaningful. This is the difference between working for a paycheck and allowing your income to be a reflection of your impact. It's okay to want ease, flow, and abundance without guilt. Wanting more doesn't make you greedy, it makes you conscious of your value. And as you let go of the belief that struggle is required, you'll see that provision often comes most naturally when we're living in purpose. In love, you are evolving beyond seeking validation. You're learning to love not to fill a void, but because your heart has so much to give. This kind of love doesn't come with anxiety or imbalance. It comes with clarity, mutuality, and freedom. And in this new season, connections will feel different. Quieter. More grounded. Less about chemistry that burns and more about compatibility that lasts. Relationships that honor your wholeness instead of asking you to shrink. And perhaps most importantly, your soul's mission is being refined. You are not here to outshine others, you are here to allow your light to shine through you. Not to impress, but to illuminate. Your mere existence, when you live from integrity and joy, becomes an act of service. And that's more powerful than any spotlight. Sometimes, we don't need to do more, we just need to remember who we are. And in remembering, we return to the path that was always ours. So let this be the moment you release what no longer resonates. Step fully into who you've become. Because when you live from wholeness, life meets you with more than you could have imagined, and not because you begged for it, but because you were finally ready to receive it. There are moments in life when something subtle but undeniable shifts within you, when your breath catches for a second and your heart feels like it recognizes something, even before your mind has made sense of it. If you've been feeling that as we've moved through this reading, it's not a coincidence. It's resonance. It's the quiet echo of truth meeting you where you are. And when that happens, it's not about what you've done or how perfect you've been. It's about how ready you've become. Blessings, as the universe has shown time and again, aren't reserved for the most flawless or the loudest achievers. They are drawn to those who've shown up consistently, quietly, and with a willingness to learn from the journey, not just race to the destination. You see, real transformation doesn't come when everything's going right. It comes when you've had to stand still in the middle of uncertainty, when you've chosen grace instead of anger, and when you've dared to keep believing in better even when the evidence wasn't visible yet. That kind of internal faith doesn't go unnoticed. Not by the world. Not by the energy that surrounds us. Not by the quiet forces that respond to vibration over volume. What this moment asks of you is simple, but powerful: to acknowledge what you've grown through, to honor the path that has brought you here, and to consciously activate what's already waiting for you. Manifestation is not magic, it's alignment. It's about syncing your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with what you say you want. And often, the final key isn't another effort, it's an act of receiving. It's you saying, yes, I'm ready. That's why these small, symbolic actions, leaving a comment, subscribing, or sharing, aren't just for engagement. They're energetic declarations. They are your way of responding to the universe with intention. When you type the words, "I am ready to receive the blessings meant for me," you're not just repeating something abstract. You are inviting your subconscious to shift. You are training your energy field to open. And yes, you are telling life that you're no longer resisting what's always been yours. Even the ancient teachings remind us that it is not enough to hope silently. We are called to ask, to speak, to move in alignment with what we believe. That doesn't mean begging or forcing. It means claiming, with quiet confidence, that you are ready to allow in more peace, more joy, more support, more love. Because it's not prideful to accept what you've been prepared for, it's responsible. So take this moment now. Do it for yourself. Not for validation, not for performance, but as a sacred act of affirmation. Choose a number between 111 and 999, something that calls to your spirit. Write it below. Let that number be your signal, your code, your reminder that you are in conversation with life, not just waiting passively for it to change. And if someone you know is walking through their own journey quietly, unsure of whether blessings are meant for them, share this message. Because sometimes, all it takes is one reminder, one whisper to bring someone back to themselves. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply becoming. And the moment you choose to believe that, everything begins to move. You're not activating luck, you're activating permission. And that, Libra, is where the promise begins to unfold. Sometimes, what you need most is not a new path, but a new posture. Not to chase harder, but to receive more openly. After everything Libra has endured, after all the years of giving without asking, of balancing others while your own soul felt stretched thin, it's no wonder that surrender now feels foreign. But this moment you're in isn't asking for more performance. It's asking for permission. Permission to finally allow in what has always been meant for you. When we talk about the golden door opening for you, it's not just poetic metaphor. In astrology, transits move like spiritual tides. And right now, Libra is entering a season where Venus, your ruling planet, is aligning with Jupiter and Neptune in a way that magnetizes blessings in love, creativity, and divine resources. It's as though the heavens are pouring light directly onto your heart, finances, and future. But even the most powerful cosmic blessings require one simple act from you: acceptance. It's easy to assume that divine favor must be earned, like some invisible scoreboard keeping tally of our good deeds. But the universe, much like grace, doesn't operate on merit, it operates on readiness. And you, Libra, are ready. You've learned the lessons. You've remained kind even when the world wasn't. You've made decisions from your soul even when your ego begged for validation. You've loved in silence, served in shadows, and waited with wisdom. And now, life is no longer asking you to justify your worth. It's simply inviting you to live from it. This final part of the reading is where the energy turns from internal to external, from reflection to embodiment. If you're wondering what to do now, the answer is, be. Be the version of yourself who doesn't apologize for shining. Be the person who lets blessings land without guilt. Be the soul who remembers that receiving is not selfish, it's sacred. Even in sacred scripture, it's reminded again and again that knocking opens doors, but it is trust that allows us to walk through them. The golden door is already open. The only thing left is for you to take that step forward, not to earn love or prove your worth, but because it's already yours. Your financial stability, your emotional peace, your recognition, and your sense of home are not waiting to be deserved. They are waiting to be claimed. And when you step into that frequency, everything else organizes itself around your faith. Resources find you. People support you. Time aligns for you. And all because you chose, finally, to receive without shrinking. If you find yourself feeling emotional right now, that's not weakness. It's your soul relaxing, finally, after carrying so much. Let the tears come. Let your heart soften. Let your body breathe. The heaviness you've carried is not yours to hold forever. You are not required to suffer to be seen. You are allowed to be blessed, even while still becoming. Especially while still becoming. And maybe that's the final gift in all of this. That after everything you've been through, you no longer have to strive, hustle, or explain. All that's left is a soft yes.